Hello, everybody. It's been a while. Welcome back to Finnigan 40K. Apologies, got a bit of a cold going. So I've been working on another project pretty diligently. My Survivor Auto LRG. I had to put the Warhammer stuff on the back burner for a little bit, but I'm actually using the next battle here, which is going to be another Fight Force 4, to test out some new camera equipment, kind of new, oldish, with some different lights and stuff for that project. So we do have the Crimson Fists. As you guys saw in that intro video, the points have not changed, luckily, since my last video, because we know that they love to do data slate changes. They are still at the top of the hill. They are the champions currently of Fight Force 4, and in this fight, they are taking on the Night Lords. So I'll show you guys the battlefield here in just a second, but we will get to the roll-off. The camera here is a Vivitar, not the best quality it's looking like on the screen, but I'm hoping when I get this thing to editing it might look a little bit better. So apologies if it's a little bit grainy when everything's through. I'm going to probably switch back over to my Canon G70 in a bit. I just want to get some mileage on this guy. So we're going to be using red dice today for the Night Lords, and the black is going to be for the Crimson Fists. So as always, this is a 4-unit fight, so Fight Force 4. There are 3 units led by a character model, and it's pretty much whoever survives. Crimson Fists have been doing very well. They have a really good diverse force. The Night Lords, I think, are going to be a pretty tall order for them, though, so we'll see how that goes. But onto the dice roll, so whoever wins this roll-off is going to be placed on the field first, usually in the best strategic area. They're also going to get the first move, shoot, and hand-to-hand if that's the case. So here we go. We're going to get the visitors going here first, our Night Lords, with the roll of the red dice. It is a 1, not great. And here goes the Crimson Fists. It is a 2. So we are going to be starting with the Crimson Fists on the table. I'm going to just pan over and show you guys that in just a sec, and then we'll get the model set up and get this battle started. Alright, so here is our battlefield. I am talking a bit louder because the boom mic on here is facing away from me. I'm just hoping it's picking up good enough audio and hope that I'll be able to edit that. Pretty generic battlefield. I picked up some of the battlefield in a box terrain. Really good prices there at Imaginaire in downtown Ottawa. They are a great company with tons of Warhammer. It's super dangerous. I also started a new job, and I'm literally attached to the Rito Center. So my lunches are pretty dangerous when I get over there and start looking at all the new kits coming out for Christmas and everything else. But a pretty generic field here. We have 2 big pieces of terrain with some scattered terrain in the middle. Either force, I think, will be able to take advantage here. If the Night Lords did have more flying units, it might be more tricky. But we'll see how that goes. I'm going to set up our forces here in just a sec and show you guys where they line up, and we are going to start this one. Alright, so we have the forces set up here. Closest to the dice rolling tray is the Crimson Fists. So from left to right, we have the Intercessors, we have the Suppressors, we have the Librarian and Terminator armor, and then the Crimson Fist Terminators. Across from them, just to show you guys further away from the dice tray, facing down the Terminators, we have a Nemesis Claw Squad. We have a Cursed Cultists in the center with the Jump Pack Lord. And then we have another Nemesis Claw on the right. So this Nemesis Claw is facing down the Intercessors. We have the Accursed Cultists and the Jump Pack Lord facing down the Suppressors. And then on the left here, we have Nemesis Claw facing down the Terminators. This battery is dying super quick, so I'm a little worried about this camera. Didn't pay much for it, so I'm not too sad. I'm just going to have to keep this thing hooked up when I do start my other project, so that's good to know. Hope the audio is good. I am going to be switching back over to my G70 now, so you guys will see better quality, better sound, all that good stuff, hopefully. But just thank you guys for letting me test this out to see. Not a bad little camera. I got it for about $100, so you can't really complain. And I think it's going to be a good little camera for Survivor Auto LRG. But this is Finnigan 40K, so let's get back to the battle with the Canon G70, and we'll get the Crimson Fist starting with their move. Alrighty, so we are back to the Canon G70. From the view screen, the quality is like 100 times better, but I wanted to test that of the camera out. So the movement has happened. The Terminators have moved up their full 5 inches, as well as their Librarian and Terminator armor.
The suppressors flew right up their full 12, and they are going to use those accelerator autocannons for whatever is in range down the table. And then our intercessors moved in behind cover with this rock. So we're going to move to the shoot now. I'm going to see what's going on. It looks like these accursed cultists might be in trouble if they're in range from those suppressors. And we're going to see how the shoot goes. I'll get it into the tray. What the hell? We'll see what the range is, and then from there we'll see who we're blowing away from the side of the Night Lords. All right, so there we go. We are definitely in range. Those accelerator autocannons have a 48-inch range. The heavy bonus is not going to come into play here though because they did fly. So it's going to be 4 pluses to hit, but each of the suppressors has 3 attacks. So here we go. Looking for a 4 plus. Okay, next one. Ooh, this is good. And that's not good. So 3 ones. These guys are out. Did not roll a 4. This one is out as well. So we have these. And it is going to be strength 8 versus a toughness of 4. So it's going to be 2s to wound. All have wounded. That is wild. And I'm going to grab 5 red dice here so we can differentiate what's going on. There we go. And it is a 6 plus save. Usually there's a -1 to AP, which would make it an impossible 7 plus. However, the torments and the mutants have the feel no pain 6 plus. So any 6s here are going to save, but there's a lot of damage coming through. So let's see. No 6s. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That is some really good firepower there. I don't know if there's going to be any other forces in this Fight 'em Up series. I'm going to have to build something. They can maybe take these guys out. I was actually planning on putting the World Leaders in, 8 bound or Exalted 8 bound with a bunch of their warmongers and stuff. So I'm going to have to see. Maybe they'd be okay if their toughness is higher. But in an open battlefield like this, with the speed of the suppressors, I don't think there's going to be too much alive here in a sec, but we'll see. So that is 10 wounds in total. So we have lost the whole front line of the accursed cultists. That's 5 wounds, and we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've lost one of the mutants, and another mutant has 1 wound remaining. So a very successful turn by the Crimson Fists. That is maybe all who's in range, but I'll check here and see what's going on, and I'll come back if there's anyone else in range to shoot, and we'll get those going. All right, so the onslaught by the Crimson Fists is done for now. Those suppressors, as we just saw in the tray, fired down, killed the entire front line of accursed cultists. The torments are all dead, and then there are 2 mutants at the back. One has 1 wound, one has 3, but it is going over to the Night Lords now, and we're going to see what they do. Yeah, maybe I should have brought some raptors in here. I think when I was building this force, it's been a while too, like since Fight Force 4, I think like 5 or 6 months. So when I built this, I didn't know I'd be facing suppressors, and I think the raptors were quite expensive anyways, because this does have to stay under 400 points, and the Night Lords here coming in at 390. But we're going to see what they can do with those 390 points and the units that they have allocated to them. And let's take it over. We'll do their move. I'll come right back and show you guys what they've done. Alrighty, so Night Lords have completed their move. Not much in range right now. There's the plasma gun and bolt gun in here that are just in range to fire at the suppressors. Got to take those guys out. They do only have 2 wounds, so that's good. This squad here, however, is how it's got a lot of guys in range, but I have a melt-a-gun here, which does not have the range. The bolt gun on the right, I should be able to shoot with, and then the other 2, as well as the champion in there, have pistols. So they're kind of just open right now in the wind. The Night Lord champion there, Lord with the jump pack, flew in behind for some extra cover. He's not stupid. He is a Lord for a reason. He's been around for a very long time, and he knows how to survive. So he is taking cover behind that rock outcrop, and then he'll pop out and probably try to get into hand-to-hand there as those suppressors move closer. We're going to see what we can do here, though. I'm probably going to roll this off camera. and see how those bolt guns do that are in range, and maybe I can chip some wounds off of these suppressors. So let's see how the Night Lords do. You know what? It's only fair. Let's get the first shoot here for the Night Lords. It's been a while. See what's going on. So the 2 bolt guns that are in each of the squads are in range. The plasma gun as well in one of the squads. So we're going to start with the bolt guns here. So this is going to be the squad on the right side of the Night Lord lines with the plasma gun and bolt gun. But let's do the bolt gun first. So it is hitting on a 3+, 2 shots. Both are through. It is strength 4 versus toughness 4. It's going to be force to wound. Neither of them wounded. That sucks. Time for the plasma gun. I'm going to be firing standard, so it's going to be a 3+. It does have a rapid fire 1 bonus, but that's only within 12 inches. Not there yet, so we need a 3. Didn't get it. The Night Lords are not rolling well. So I'm going to flip over to the other side here, the other Night Lord squad that's behind kind of like Wile E. Coyote's rock there. It's got like a big ball on the top of it. It's hilarious. Great terrain. So here we go. He is firing 2 shots again, bolt gun, getting on a 3+. Let me get that profile up. There we go. And double ones. So I usually roll really poorly for my Imperium models, and you know, I haven't rolled too much for them yet, but this is looking pretty bad for the Night Lord so far. But let's see. That is it for the shoot. It is going back over to the Crimson Fists now, and we'll see if I want to have those suppressors fly down a little bit further and keep these units down at the end of the table, or if I want to fly them back and support. I'll look at the table a bit, get some strategy down, and then do the movement for my Crimson Fists. Alrighty, here's our Crimson Fist movement. We have the Terminators drudging along there. They're 5 inches with the Librarian. The suppressors I flew up about 6 inches, and I might just hold the center of the table right there. They're right in the kind of valley between the 2 rock outcrops, so that'll be good for them. I can fly around and take cover if I have to. It's a good spot. And then the Intercessors lastly moved over beside the rock crop here. Literally all Night Lord models are in range right now. So my Terminators are going to blast away at these guys. The suppressors are going to finish off these mutants. And then this Nemesis Claw squad is going to be fired upon by the Intercessors. The nice thing about the Intercessor squad is they just have bolt guns. There is the like underslung grenade launcher with them, but they don't have a bunch of crazy weapons like a tactical squad used to have. So the bolt guns with that strength 4 might be able to chip some wounds off, but it's going to take a lot more shots. And that's the same with the storm bolters as well. And the heavy flamer, I do not believe is in range. I'll have to check. It might be 24. If it is, then I can gout this entire Nemesis Claw unit. So I will go over to the tray and probably roll this off camera to get the battle kind of moving here. And we'll see what's in range and what kind of damage the Crimson Fist will be able to do to the Night Lords when we get back. All right, so that was a big round actually for the Night Lords. I was expecting to lose a lot more models. Just going to sum up the shoot. We started down here. So the Intercessor squad fired into the Nemesis Claw. No one was wounded. Several shots made it off, but the strength 4 of the bolt rifle against the toughness 4 didn't penetrate. The accelerator autocannons of the suppressors fired down and finished off the mutant squad. So they're done, but that did take a lot of shots, which is good. They're finished, and it was actually 4 wounds allocated to 4 wounds remaining. So that was pretty good by the suppressors. The Terminators, as well as the Librarian, all fired with their Storm Bolters into the Nemesis Claw here. Same outcome. A lot of shots made it, but nothing really penetrated. And if there was any saves, it was made with the 3+, because there's no AP with those Storm Bolters. And the Heavy Flamer is 12 inches. For some reason, I thought it was more than that. It has been a while knocking off some rust, so that has not changed, 12 inches, and it was not in range. So this is flipping back over to the Night Lords now, and Night Lords are all that remain on the table. They also have bolt guns, but there's some special weapons here too, and if these guys get into hand-to-hand combat, I think they probably outweigh the Crimson Fists in that regard. I might be able to sneak my Lord as well in behind these guys to get some cover, because as soon as they pop out these accelerator autocannons, if these guys are still going, are going to have whatever pops out in sight right away to blow away. So these guys are my number one priority for the Night Lords. And then I also have a whole bunch of heavily armored Terminators to worry about too, but they're a little bit slower. Weapons aren't as powerful, so I need to kill these guys first, and that's probably where all these shots are going. But it is over to the Night Lords. I'm going to get their move going, show you guys where they are. I'm going to get them in the best position possible to get range on these guys. But at the same time, on the flip side of that, it means that they're going to be in range for those accelerator autocannons with that strength 8 against toughness 4. So I'll show you guys what my Night Lords do, and we'll take it from there. All right, I did it. Pretty big gamble by the Night Lords, but I have popped them all out of any kind of cover they had to get as much firepower down on the suppressors as I can. So we have the Nemesis Claw unit here. They've got a Meltagun, plasma pistol, bolt pistols, and a bolt gun, and they should all be in range. And then over here, the Nemesis Claw unit now joined by the Night Lord with jump pack. They have a plasma gun, bolt pistols, and a bolt gun as well. So that is going to be a lot of firepower coming down. If I get some really good rolls, there's some big damage that can happen from the Meltagun. And if I can take these suppressors out, it's going to be a big check in the box. It's pretty cool too. These armies look really similar. Crimson Fist, as I've said before, my absolute favorite Space Marine chapter. So they're a successor of the Imperial Fists. I'm really hoping that they might make a new Pedro Cantor model. We'll see what happens. I know that we got some love for the Imperial Fists there recently with some pretty great models. So I'm hoping that we'll get that going. But I'm going to go over to the tray. We're going to roll this one because it's actually pretty epic, pretty big in regards to this battle. I also have to check and see what this Night Lord with Jump Pack has as a ranged weapon. Because he's got the lightning claws there, but I'm not sure if he's got a very good ranged weapon. We'll have to see. If there is a plasma gun in that profile, I'll probably use that, but I don't know if he's in range. He's a bit further back. But yeah, let's see if these suppressors can survive an onslaught of 10 Nemesis, Claw, and then one Night Lord with Jump Pack. Just before we start rolling here, this is going to be the Night Lords taking on those suppressors. Just want to show you guys, I was talking about the Imperial Fists. I did get the new Lysander model. Hoping it's going to come into focus here for you guys. Beautiful model. He is the captain of the first company for the Imperial Fists. I'm showing you this too because I think I am trying to do, maybe in the new year, I'm not sure, but I know the Last Stand series has been super popular. That is a set Tyranid force of around 1,200 points. You guys can check out that playlist if you want. It takes on various forces across the Imperium or Xenos, anything, or Chaos Space Marine, whatever it is. The Tyranid force was well put together, but there were a couple forces that were able to destroy them. And I'm going to be kind of going into something called maybe a Last Stand Extreme or Last Stand Plus. I kind of mentioned it during one of my last videos, I believe, back when I shot the Sisters of Battle Crusade. So I'm building up my forces right now too. I have a lot on the paint table. I got some Death Korps of Krieg, got some more Von Rein's Leapers. I've been asking for some Tyranid for Christmas, so we'll see what I get there. But it's going to be pretty much a kind of similar terrain setup to this, with a bunch of Tyranid coming in waves. And there's going to be, I'm thinking, pulled out of a hat or a box, 2 Imperium units that are probably going to be about 300 plus a character. And that could be like a team up of Death Korps of Krieg and Raven Guard, or it could be Salamanders with Imperial Fists, or Black Templar with Cadian. So it's going to be really cool and just kind of see which force holds off the longest against wave after wave of Tyranid. Start off with small skittering models, move up to medium size, and then to the big dudes at the end to see who can make it through. If it's popular, I might kick in some Chaos as well, some Xenos in that too, just to see how they do. Like, you could see Chaos Undivided teamed up with Nurgle taking on Tyranid, or Gene Stealer cultists teamed up with, well, that doesn't make sense because they're Tyranid. But yeah, just kind of mulling that around in my head. Definitely probably in the New Year's, I want to get a couple more Fight Force 4 going, seeing how this battle goes. Very easy to set up, quick to do. But enough chat. I'm just going to cut the camera. We'll get to the rules. Just wanted to show you guys that and talk about my new idea for a new playlist. But we do have tons of other playlists. There's been, of course, Fight Force 4. Had a Canadian Narrative Crusade, Battle Sister Narrative Crusade. We had the Last Stand series. We had Fight 'em Up 40K, middleweight, heavyweight, Primarchs and their posse. So definitely check out the channel. And you can check out Finnigan Productions as well if you guys want to see some of my other works. I've been making films since 2000. Lots of kind of amazing horror genre, fun flicks, some crime comedy, Warhammer 40K, and then Survivor Ottawa LRG. So give it all a look if you want. But back to Warhammer, we're going to start rolling here to see if these suppressors can survive in just a sec. Oh, God. As soon as I cut the camera, I dropped Lysander on the ground. He's okay, but I was worried. He's got kind of the iron halo over his head. One of the spikes might have broke off. It's a good thing about Warhammer. They can just glue it back up. But anyways, here we go. So we're going to start with the Nemesis Claw squad on the right that have all of their models in range. That's the Melty Gun, Plasma Gun, 2-bolt pistols, and Bolt Gun. So let's get going here. It's I'll start with the Plasma Pistol, hitting on a 2+. No, that is the Chaos Lord I was looking at. So let's go to the Nemesis Claw, please. And I had a missile launcher lined up in here as well as a heavy bolter, but that apparently is a rule only with a 10-person squad of Nemesis Claw, which the points are absolutely insane, so I didn't do that. But yeah, a squad of 5, you can have one of their bolt guns switched out for a melta gun, or a bolt gun at least, or a melta gun, or a plasma gun. At least that's the rules for now. So here we go. We are going to start with the plasma pistol. So hitting on a 3+. Got the 3. That's really good. It is strength 7 versus toughness 4 of the suppressors. So this is going to be 3s to wound. And he didn't get it. So that didn't work. If it's within 12 inches, no. There's no rapid fire for that. I was looking at the plasma gun. So we're going to move over to the bolt gun now. Hitting on a 3+, 2 dice. 1 fell off, of course. Strength 4, toughness 4, force to wound. Got that one. It is going to be a 3+. There's no AP for the Crimson Fists. And oof, there we go. So there has been 1 wound delivered to a suppressor. So they usually have 2 wounds. I'm just putting a token beside the model so I can... These are the old school tokens too. You guys have probably seen them in the fights, but 1 and a 2, I have the 3 and the 4s. Great little cheapsy. I hope they still make these, or I don't know, maybe I can find them somewhere, eBay or something. They're awesome, small and good to go. So we fired the plasma pistol. That was a no-go. The bolt gun was able to wound. The big one here is going to be the melta gun, but I'm going to save that for last. So we're going to do each of the bolt pistols. So the 2 others with their hand-to-hand combat weapons have bolt pistols. It's hitting on a 3+. 1 hit, 2 hit, strength 4, toughness 4, force to wound. Didn't wound, didn't wound. So the bolt pistols have just plunked off of the suppressor armor. The big one though that I've saved up here is the melta gun. So if this hits, it can do a lot of damage. And you could actually possibly kill these models outright if I roll high enough, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Here we go. It does have a melta bonus 2, but that's only within 6 inches. We're just under the 12, probably 11 inches away. So need to hit on a 3+. Got it. That's great. Strength 9, toughness 4, 2s to wound. Got that too. Ay. So this weapon, if you can have a melta gun hit, even with an Imperial Guard unit, they're absolutely fantastic. They don't have great range, but I love to keep them kind of in my weapons list for just making sure that I have a couple in an army that I'm playing with if they have that ability to use them. Because it's just like a big blap of like sun-heated melta crap. It's a -4 to AP, so the suppressor squad actually can't save. It brings up to 7+. So it's going to be an automatic D6 damage because none of them can save it. So it's just melted all over their armor, burning their face, burning their gun, whatever it is, and we're going to see how much damage is coming from this. And that is the full 6. So it looks like the luck has changed. There was 5 wounds remaining for the suppressor squad because we did have that one guy that was wounded by the bolt gun. And that is 5 wounds that were remaining against 6 damage. So the suppressor squad has been eliminated. And that actually allows my Nemesis Claw unit to the left to now open up on the Terminators and the Terminator Librarian. So the Terminator Librarian is leading them, so they're not going to be able to shoot him right away, but they're going to start to chip away at those Terminators if they can. There is a plasma gun in there. We got more bolt pistols, so not the best damage. I'm just checking to see if the plasma is in 12. It's not. It's not going to get a bonus, but we have a bolt gun, plasma gun, 3 bolt pistols that one is in range, the other 2 are not. And then the plasma pistol from the Lord is also not in range. So we're going to get a couple shots here. I will do that off camera, build up the drama, and then come back and show you guys if any Terminators have been killed by the little tiny plinky bolt gun or maybe by the plasma gun. All right, so that is where the suppressors once stood. They have been taken out, which is actually a huge goal for the Night Lords because they were doing exactly what they're supposed to do and suppressing the Night Lords in their place. Couldn't move with those accelerator autocannons firing on them with that high damage, but they are dead. The melta gun was able to hit. Over here, we only had the bolt gun and the plasma gun in range. Bolt gun fired, couldn't wound. Plasma gun did not fire. And then the bolt pistols here, actually not in range. I measured again, it's just like 12 and a half, 13 inches. So the Terminators are unscathed, and it is going back over to them. Crimson Fists are going to be moving now. So we have the Terminator squad, the Terminator Librarian leading them, and then we have the Intercessor squad around the corner here. And they're going to be putting all of their firepower onto these Night Lords. The big bonus is there's really nothing here that has an incredibly high strength. The Librarian does have a psychic attack. I'll probably be using that. But if there is hazard with that, it's a possibility he could hurt himself or the unit around him. So I'll have to look at that, see if any rules have changed since the last time we played. But over to the Crimson Fists, we're going to do their move and see what they do. All right, so Terminators continue to drudge along there, moved up their 5 inches with the Librarian. The Librarian does have the Witchfire Smite, strength 5, so a little bit higher, 24 inches. I think I'm probably going to be using that here to see if I can knock off some of these Night Lord Nemesis Claw. And then over here, we have the Intercessors who've moved around from out of cover. They should all be in range to be able to fire. They're not going to get the heavy bonus, the rapid fire bonus. It's heavy fire. Heavy bonus. My bad. It's been a while. But they're not going to get that as they moved. So for the heavy bonus, if that is here, I'm going to have to double check. I'll tell you guys on the dice rolling camera when I get my app up. But you get a bonus. So usually if you're hitting on a 3+, for instance, or a 4+, you get a better roll. So it would be a 3+ or a 2+, mattering on if they move or not. And they have moved, so they're not going to get any bonus this turn, but we're going to see what they can do. Over the tray, let's get rolling, and I think we're going to start it off with this Librarian and see what we can do. All right, yes, so I was just checking. It is heavy for the bolt rifle, which gives them a 2+ if they don't move, but they did move, so that's not going to happen here. Anyways, we're going to start up. It is going to be the Librarian getting this round of shooting kicked off. He is going to be using his Smite Witchfire. So there is a focused Witchfire that does possibly cause hazard. And that would mean that I'd have to take a test roll after to see if it affects him or any of the people in his unit, if that's how this is. But this one is just Smite Witchfire, so you don't get as high a strength. Don't get as high an AP, but you're not going to be putting your Psyker in danger from using and tapping into the warp. So here we go, Smite Witchfire, D6. So that was a very good roll, and what this does is it tells you how many attacks you get. So now I have to roll based off of this. So I have a 6. I add my 6 dice total, and for that attack, it's going to be a 3+. So now I'm actually seeing if this attack hits. 2 did not. I'm also not using Oath of Moment here, but I'm not using a lot of the special abilities of the Nemesis Claw either. I don't recall if I used Fight Force 4, all of the rules of the units. I like to keep it very bare. And as I've said 1,000 times before in these videos, there's so many fucking rules. So if you find rules that you like to play by, your own rules, mixing up different generations of the game, different editions, do what you want. As long as you have fun. I usually try to strip back a whole bunch of stuff like devastating wounds and this just like no morale checks. It's ridiculous. So I just play a very straight, good game. I wouldn't be accepted in a tournament with these rules, but it's fun, and that's how I do it. And if I was playing someone that wanted to play by the rules, I guess I could, but yeah, I like doing it this way. It's a lot faster. So this is Smite Witchfire is a strength 5 versus toughness 4, so that does give me 3s to wound. And 1 fell off, but these are through. So I'm going to grab 3 red dice here for the save. It is a -1 to AP, so our Nemesis Claw go from a 3+ to a 4+. Very good attack. This is a really good Crimson Fist army I put together. I didn't know they'd be this good, but they've won a hell of a lot of fights. So here we go, looking for 4+s for the Night Lords. Wow, and a very good roll. So that's good. I was expecting at least one model taking at least 1 wound, but they've survived the Smite Witchfire, which hopefully means that these Terminators won't be able to do much either. So that is it for the Librarians shoot. We're going to switch over here to the Terminators in just a sec. I'm going to do the Intercessors, but I'll do that off camera to save some time. I want this video to be like an hour and a half. I know it's the first time back. I'm excited. I'm happy to be back with you guys, but I don't want this thing to go on too long. So over to the Terminators, over to my Intercessors, and we'll see what they do to the Night Lords when we come back here on the table in a sec. All right, so not a bad finish there for the Crimson Fist shoot. They were able to kill one of the Night Lords with the barrage of Stormbolter bolts coming down. That rapid fire 2 had these guys with 16 shots coming in, and 3 wounds were delivered. So one of the Night Lords has 1 wound remaining. The other one back here was killed with the bolt gun. I'm getting into hand-to-hand though, so I am putting those wounds on the bolt gun models. And the Intercessors here, I did not fire with the underslung grenade launcher. Instead, I used the bolt rifle profile because it has the -1 to AP. And even with the -1 to AP, not fantastic rolls, but we were able to wound the Night Lord on the right here, and he has 1 wound, but it is going back over to them now. It is getting pretty dicey because these guys are super good in hand-to-hand combat. As far as I know, I have not actually tried them yet, so we'll see how they do. These guys have a tall order against the Terminators, though, but they do have the Night Lord with Jump Pack. These guys have the Intercessors. I don't know if they're going to be in range. I'll have to check their special abilities to see if they can do some kind of crazy-ass move to get into hand-to-hand combat. If not, they're going to have to try to penetrate them with some bolt rounds, plasma rounds, and Melta shot. And the Melta shot last time we saw what it did to suppressors, so it's possible it can do some damage. But I'm going to look at all the rules, the abilities, make sure that I'm doing the right call. I play super hard for both sides, making sure it's fair. So the Night Lords will definitely get their turn here, and we'll see what the best strategy for them is. The two forces have clashed in their first hand-to-hand combat, and the initiative is going to the Night Lords here. The Night Lord with Jump Pack has an ability to allow a further pile in. So the Night Lords were just about an inch outside, but with that ability, they are going to be going into hand-to-hand combat and taking the initiative. The Night Lords do have some fantastic hand-to-hand combat weaponry. I wouldn't say they're quite as good as the World Eaters, but they're pretty damn good, and that Lord in the back there is going to do pretty awesome. The Chain Glaive here has a strength 8 actually, which sounds like a great strength to just be tearing open some Terminators. Big thing is here, if they don't do a lot of damage to this Terminator unit, those power fists of my Crimson Fist Terminators are going to be turning the Night Lord power armor into scrap metal and just crunching the shit out of it. So we'll see what happens there. Over on this side, the Nemesis Claw here do not have a leader like the Night Lord with Jump Pack, so they have moved in their 6 inches. It is going to have to be another ranged attack for them, but that Meltagun, as we saw against the Suppressors did fantastic. So if I get another good roll there, it could kill all of these Space Marines. And everything here is going to be in range this time. So we have the bolt gun, we have bolt pistol, plasma pistol, bolt pistol, and the melt-a-gun. So I'm going to move over to the tray. We're going to get the shoot done first. As per the rules of Warhammer, it is move, shoot, and then we will finish this turn up with the hand-to-hand combat, and we'll see how many Terminators they can kill from this, and if the Terminators do get to do a attack and fight back. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see how it goes. All right, so there's very few units at this point, pretty much 2 versus 2. We have the 2 character models, so I'm going to get probably a lot of the rest of this game on the dice tray. So this is going to be our Nemesis Claw taking on the Intercessors. We do have 2 bolt pistols, so I'm going to use those first. They each have 1 attack each, hitting on a 3+. That one hit. That one did not hit. So you'd think you'd be able to get a 3, but no. Strength 4, toughness 4, 4 to wound. Didn't get that. So both bolt pistols have failed. That's the Chain Glaive and the Lightning Claws. I'm going to use the bolt gun now that is with the other Nemesis Claw with the 1 wound, hitting on 3+. He did move, so it's not a bolt rifle, so he doesn't get the bonus anyways, but 1 fell off. This is 4 to 4, so 4 strength, 4 toughness, 4 to wound. Got that this time. So we're going to see if the Crimson Fist can make a save. No AP, it's the regular 3+. And the Crimson Fist was able to save. I'm going to move over to I think they're called Visionaries. In a normal squad, they'd be a Sergeant with Space Marine, or they'd be a Chaos Champion, I guess. But they're called the Visionary with the Nemesis Claw. So this is kind of their Sergeant of the unit. And he has that plasma pistol. I'm not going to supercharge it yet. If he's the last model in the squad, I might do something like that because I don't want to hurt the rest of my squad. So plasma pistol, standard, is hitting on a 3+. Oof, just got it. Got a 3. It is strength 7 versus toughness 4. Another 3 to wound. Got that. Oof, okay. So the plasma pistol is a -2 AP. That brings our Intercessor up to a 5+ because they do not have an invulnerable. And he saved it though. So the plasma blapped all over the power armor of the Intercessor, and he's good to go. Last but not least though, I wanted to save this one. It is the Melt-a-Gun. We saw what it did to the suppressors. Still got to roll for it though, so let's see how it goes. Looking for a 3+. Got the 3. Sorry guys, a little bit of a cough. Strength 9 against toughness 4. That's going to be 2 to wound. Oof. Very lucky for the Crimson Fists. And super unlucky for the Night Lords. So they weren't able to do any damage this round. If that Melt-a-Gun had fired, let's just see how much damage it would have done. Would have done 3. So it would have, it would have killed 1 Marine, left another one wounded, but that is not the way that this happened. Give you guys kind of a Price is Right moment there. Let's make a deal, but this doesn't count. It was just a test, see what happens. Over to the hand-to-hand combat here in just a second, and we're going to get that one on camera. All right, so just checking out all the profiles here. There's several within the Nemesis Claw Night Lord squad, so I'm going to go through each of them, and we'll kind of have to roll one at a time here because the Visionary has 1 weapon, the Plasma Gunner has another, and then there's 2 hand-to-hand combat weapons. Then we also have the Chaos Lord with Jump Pack, the Night Lord with Jump Pack. So this camera is also kind of going in and out of focus because you can see my hands there. Then if it moves, sometimes they'll go fuzzy. So apologies if that's happened because I just saw there when I stepped away that it was kind of fuzzy. Anyways, we're going to start here with the close combat weapon. So this is just like, some kind of, I don't know, a Nemesis Claw Night Lord knife. Really nice handle on it. It's got a bat wing on it, kind of thing. So here we go. Hitting on a 3+. All those are through. 4 versus 4. Terminator squad, toughness 5. So this is going to be 5 to wound. So we have a 4 strength with the close combat weapon versus toughness 5. That kicks it up. It's going to be a 5+ to wound. Very good roll. So those have all gone through. There's no AP, luckily, for the Terminators, so this is going to be a regular 2+ save, but I've been rolling some ones, so let's see how it goes. And all saved. So we have 2 2s and a 6. That is it for the first Nemesis Claw. We're going to move down the list here. The Visionary has an accursed weapon, so it is 4 attacks, hitting on a 3+. Oof, not as good a roll. No rerolls allowed with this guy either. Strength 5, toughness 5, however, so force to wound. 1 fell off again. We have a 4 in the corner here, so this one has hit. It is a -2 to AP, which brings the Terminator up to his 4+ invulnerable. And the Terminator did not save. So this is just 1 damage, but 1 Terminator has gone from 3 wounds down to 2. That could be the whole battle if it comes down to it. You never know. Injuring your Terminator is always good. So a cursed weapon is through. I'm just going through the profile here. We did the close combat weapon. We have the paired accursed weapons, which is the 2 kind of like lightning claws, I believe. They are twin linked as well, which is a plus. So I'll explain that in a sec. It's been mentioned in some of our previous videos, but it's been a while, so we'll cover that. So this is 4 attacks hitting on a 3+. 1 fell off that time. So this is when the twin link comes into play, is when you're trying to wound. So weapons with twin linked in their profile are known as twin linked weapons. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, you can reroll that attack's wound roll. So we just did the hit roll, can't reroll that, but we got 3 through. We're going to be able to reroll this if we have to. The other nice thing about this weapon is it is a strength 5 versus toughness 5, so we need force to wound. So I have 2 4s. This is currently a 1, but since it's twin linked, I can kind of, that guy can punch in the same spot really quickly with the twin linked ability. So we need another 4 here or higher, and 3 4s. So that is a full extra attack that's come through. Really good on the part of the Night Lords. So this is 3 saves. It is a -2 again to AP. That brings the Terminators up to a 4+. And 1 has been saved. No, none have been saved. Wow, luckily it's just 1 damage per for the Crimson Fists, because that is 1, 2, 3 wounds. So we have 1 Terminator that's been killed by that super fast assault there. And then another has been brought down to 1 wound. And we still have the Chain Glaive coming up. And we also have the Night Lord with Jump Pack. So there's still some chances here for the Night Lords to do some damage. Sorry again. So we're going to use the Nostraman Chain Glaive. The Night Lords, their home planet, Conrad Kurz, is from Nostromo. The camera's going out of focus again. Sorry guys, I'm just going to focus it up. There we go. Yeah, Nostromo, it's like a knight that's in perpetual darkness. And he learned how to become a very stealthy killer, which he's trained to his entire Legion, now chapter. Conrad Kurz is dead, but that carries on, and they're kind of like the flip side of the Raven Guard, but also a mix kind of Blood Angels, because they eat flesh and stuff. So it's a little weird, but that's them. Anyways, Nostraman Chain Glaive, named after their home planet. So 4 attacks hitting on a 3+. And 2 have fallen off. That sucks. It is strength 8, however, versus toughness 5. So this is going to be 3s to wound. Better get something here. There we go. 5 and 3, it's through. Once again, -2 to AP. So these guys, when they get in hand-to-hand, like not as crazy good as the World Eaters, but they're pretty fucking good. So this is a 4+ save for the Terminators. And another 2 have failed. The Chain Glaive is also 1 damage, but that is 1 Terminator dead again, which is not good for the Crimson Fists. And then another is down to 2 wounds. I'm going to give that to the other Stormbolter because I want that heavy flamer around for a while longer. So currently in the Terminator squad, before they start taking on the Night Lord with Jump Pack, they have 3 left. The Sergeant with 3 wounds, the Heavy Flamer with 3 wounds, and the last Stormbolter Terminator with 2 wounds. There is also the Librarian, so if by some chance those 3 get killed, some wounds can start to go down on the librarian. I'm very excited here to see how this Chaos Lord with Jump Pack does, though. Very new model. Well, new for me. I haven't used him yet, so I'm going to see what we can do with him. And he has Twin Lightning Claws. So you have the selection to do a Cursed Weapon, Power Fist, or Twin Lightning Claws. I put the Twin Lightning Claws on because that is super Night Lordish. It's also twin linked, and it is 6 attacks with a strength 5. So very possible some more wounds could come down here. I don't want to jinx anything, but here we go. It is hitting on a 2+ as well, because this is a hero champion character, so hitting on 2+. 2 1s. All we needed was 2+. Anyways, not rolling great for the Chaos this time. It's kind of switched around. I usually roll very poorly for the Imperium. Strength 5. So these I can re-roll as well. Strength 5 versus toughness of 5. It's going to be Force to Wound. And I'm super happy that I have that because 3 of those attacks fell off. Let's see if we can pick up 1 more. And we did. It would have been really nice if I had a couple more, but these 2 did fall off, even though the twin length, I've done my reroll. So we have a 4 and a 5, needed Force to Wound, -2 to AP again. That brings the Terminator up to a 4+ save. And they have saved both this time. So it would have been 1 damage per. Not a bad round at all by the Night Lords. So we're going to get back to it here. It's moving back over to the Crimson Fists for a counterattack, which could end very badly for the Night Lords. But I'll show the table for a bit to break it up because we've been in the tray for quite a while. There we are. So that hand-to-hand combat has subsided. That is it. A lot of Terminators dead, though. Well, 2, but that is a lot when you're considering these guys are in Terminator plate. And another one is wounded, down to 2 wounds. They are, however, going to fight back here in just a sec. And then over on this side, sadly, I was really hoping for some attacks here to go through. But the Crimson Fists were super lucky. Melt-A-Gun didn't fire. Plasma Pistol wasn't able to do anything you guys saw in the tray. Wasn't great, but that's how it is. And it looks like those Intercessors are going to get another crack at the Night Lords. However, they're getting super close to that hand-to-hand combat. And this unit also has a Nostraman Chain Glaive and some other pretty sick weapons there. We got the twin accursed weapons too, the accursed weapon. So if these guys can get in hand-to-hand combat and survive those bolt rifle fires, they have got a very good chance of taking out those Intercessors. And they might have to, because right now we're going back over to 3 super angry Terminators with a Terminator Librarian. The Terminators all have Power Fists that are crimson colored as per their chapter's name, and they're ready to just crunch some Night Lords. So let's go back to the tray and see how their rebut does. All right, we're back over the tray to see how these Terminators do with their massive crimson Power Fists. They are perfect Chaos Space Marine killers, so we will see how it goes right here. They have 3 attacks per, so that's going to be 9 attacks total. And then they also have the Librarian that's going to be coming in at the end to clean up anything else. So this may go very, very poorly for the Night Lords. We're going to start with the Power Fists here. So we'll start off with the Stormbolter Terminator. So 3 attacks hitting on 3+. Okay. This is going to be the Heavy Flamer. Okay. Separate them so we can tell who did what. And then last but not least, the Terminator Sergeant. And okay, so they needed 3s. So the Sergeant had 2 fall off, Heavy Flamer had 1 fall off, and the Stormbolter had 1 fall off. I'm just going to mix these all together now. It is Strength 8 versus Toughness 4. This is going to be 2s to wound. Wolf, devastating. So all those are through. That's 5 attacks that are through. I'm going to grab my red dice here. -2 to AP. The Nemesis Claw do not have an invulnerable save, so this is going to be 5+ saves. I'm just going to see if they have a Feel No Pain. They do not. So, and then this is also 2 damage per that isn't saved, so we need 5s here. Ooh, spinning. So we have 2 6s. Those were saved. We have 2, 4, 6 wounds through. So that is 2, 4, 5, 6. So all that remains here, I'm just getting the models already, is I'm going to keep the chain glaive in there. Night Lord, so the twin accursed weapon, and plasma gunner are all gone. The librarian still has to go as well. So we're going to see if this last Night Lord is actually going to survive right now or not. So I'm just going to get the Terminator librarian profile up here, and they have their force stave. So here we go. Like a force shillelagh, we'll call it the shillelagh of the librarian. A little bit of the Irish in me. Here we go. All right, so it's 4 attacks hitting on a 3+ with the force shillelagh. Oh, that was kind of shite. So some of those rolls have come back to bite them in the ass. That was a 2. So we have 1, 1, 2. Those do not make it through. This is through. It is a strength 6 versus a toughness 4, so 3 to wound. And he did get that. It is a -1 to AP. That has our Nemesis Claw up to a 4+ save. And he did not make it. It is D3, so he's dead no matter what. But let's see. And you split the dice in half, so a 2 becomes a 1. That last Nemesis Claw Night Lord is dead. And the only one that remains is the Night Lord with Jump Pack. Facing down 3 very angry Terminators and a Librarian in Terminator armor. So that was a big one. If they had somehow survived that, they would have had a better chance. And we are now going to move back over to the Crimson Fists for their movement. I'll sum that up for you guys, what we do. I think I might actually call it for the night, though. I'm up super early tomorrow for work. New job's going okay. Pretty fucking crazy busy though before holidays, and then fiscal year end is right around the corner. It's in March, so really in crunch time right now, but it's going. The days are flying by, and really happy I could get back and do some Warhammer with you. But yeah, for you guys it'll only be a couple seconds. For me it's going to be a good 20 hours or so, and then we'll get back to this one, and it's over to Crimson Fists for their move. Welcome back, everybody. Well, yeah, I guess it was only a couple seconds for you guys, but I am back at the table. Crimson Fist move has concluded. Want to apologize right off the bat. I actually edited up some of the footage from the Vivitar camera, and oof, it's pretty rough. It's going to be at the start of this video, so you guys will have already survived it by this point, but I might have to think about some other options for my other projects. So thank you guys for letting me test you and kind of be my guinea pigs. But back to our 40k Fight Force 4 here. So the Intercessors did not move. They're going to get that heavy ability plus for their ballistic skill, and they're going to be firing into the Night Lords. Bit of a risk. I could have moved them back to, still have that range, but I wouldn't be getting that heavy bonus of extra ballistic skill. In this case, though, the Night Lords are going to be able to attack probably in hand-to-hand combat, so the Intercessors have to really do well with their shots this turn. And then over here, we have our Night Lord with Jump Pack in quite a bit of trouble here. So if you guys are Night Lord fans, this might be the end of him. The 3 remaining Terminators and the Terminator Librarian have all locked into hand-to-hand combat. We're going to be getting to that in the tray after the shoot. So over to the tray for the shoot, we'll see what happens to the Nemesis Claw Night Lords, and then we're going to see what happens to our Warlord for this Night Lord force. All right, so on to the shoot. I'm just going to make sure this thing is focused up. It's trying to pick up a whole bunch of different stuff around it. So there we go, with my nice Finnigan 40k logo and my kind of Crimson Fist. It didn't have a red fist, it was white, but you guys get the idea. So the Intercessor squad here, there is a bolt pistol with the Sergeant, so that is going to be kind of outside of that bolt rifle heavy ability. So we're going to roll the bolt pistol first, and then we'll get into the bolt rifles after that. So this is hitting on a 3+. Did not get it. Not using Oath of Moment for this fight. Forget if I did in the past, but not this time. So now onto the bolt rifles. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 shots. So bolt rifles do have the two no matter what. They don't have a rapid fire ability. So the remaining 4 intercessors, that's the profile I have selected. I'm not using the underslung grenade launcher that's attached to the bolt rifle for one of the guys. It is usually hitting on a 3+, but since they did not move, this is the bonus to that heavy. So this is hitting on 2+ this time. And wow, that is a terrible roll. So we dropped a whole bunch there. 5 out of the 8 did not fire, which is insane. And the remaining dice here, it's a strength 4 weapon versus toughness 4, so force to wound. And none of those wounded. That is wild. So the luck that the Night Lords were getting at the start of this fight has definitely switched over to the Crimson Fists. It might be the Terminators are all that left here if those Nemesis get into hand-to-hand combat next turn against those Intercessors. So I'm going to just stop the camera here, break it up a little bit, and I'll be right back with the hand-to-hand combat. All right, tried to zoom this in a little bit just to make sure that focus is there. It's really kicking in and out of focus. Apologies if it was a bit fuzzy there last time. So we do have the Terminators now taking on the Chaos Lord with Jump Pack in hand-to-hand combat. The Terminators all have big, massive Crimson Fists, and they're going to be punching the life out of this Chaos Lord if I get good rolls. So it is going to be 3 attacks per, so we have 9 dice in total, as there are 3 of them, and it is hitting on a 3+. Wow, again, quite a few fell off. So 4 out of the 9 fell off. These are through. It is a strength 8 weapon versus toughness 4. So this is going to be 2s to wound. And there we go. So those have all wounded. We have 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just going to use these dice again to save with. So that Power Fist has a -2 to AP. Brings the Chaos Lord with Jump Pack up to the 4+ invulnerable. So these are now saving for the Chaos Lord. And pretty good roll. So 3 of them were saved. It is 2 damage per. So we have 2, 4 damage that have been allocated to the Lord. He is down to 1 wound, but we are not done here. We still have the Terminator Librarian with his force weapon. I'm getting that profile up right now. So that's going to be 4 attacks hitting on a 3+. All through except 1. So we have 4, 5, 6, and that is a strength 6, not quite as high as those Power Fists, but it's against a toughness 4, so 3s to wound. And 2 more fell off. That's not good. So there is the 5 that's through. This time I will use a red dice to save. It's a -1 to AP. That brings the Chaos Lord with Jump Pack up to a 4+ save. And he has not made it. So he is dead no matter what. Let's just see how much damage gets dealt here. So it's D3. And there was 2 wounds allocated to his 1 remaining wound. So the Terminators and Librarian have finished off the Night Lord with Jump Pack. And we are going to get back over here to the Nemesis Claw that are the only unit remaining on the table for the Night Lords. And I'll move them and come right back and show you guys what they've done. So no surprise here. The moves are coming, a lot faster because there's just not as many models on the board. The Nemesis Claw have gone into hand-to-hand combat with the Crimson Fists. We are going to see how that shakes out in just a sec. As there is no other shoots on the table, it's going to go straight over to the hand-to-hand combat, and we'll get that rolling in the tray. We have seen that the Nemesis Claw have some pretty good hand-to-hand combat weapons, and the other unit was able to carve up the Terminators pretty well. So we are going to see what happens here against a unit of Intercessors. So over to the tray, and we're going to get this one all rolled out. All right, so let's see what these Nemesis Claw can do against Intercessors. The weapons are pretty good. As we've seen earlier, though, it's only 1 damage per, so not like multi-damage if attacks get through. So you have to really get the rolls right off the bat for them to kind of get through. There's also several different profiles here, as we saw when they were fighting against the Terminators, the other unit. So in here, just to sum it up, we have a close combat weapon that's with the Melta-Gunner and another close combat weapon with the Bolt Gunner. We have the Nostraman Chain Glaive, which is at strength 8. And we have the paired accursed weapons and the accursed weapons. So let's start off with the close combat weapons here. That's from the Bolt Gunner and the Melta-Gunner. and that is hitting on a 3+. I'll roll one at a time. Okay, 2 fell off. Those are through, so we'll remove the 2 that did not make it. And it is a strength 4 versus toughness 4, so force to wound. 2 have wounded, no AP, so I'll switch out the dice here. And this is going to be a regular 3+ save for the intercessors. Wow, so the rolls have moved over again here. Yeah, so that is 1 dead intercessor marine. I'm gonna remove him right now, so I'm tracking. So I've removed 1 of the intercessors. Next up is the accursed weapon, and that is coming in at 4 attacks, hitting on a 3+. Remove these guys. All those are through this time, so it looks like those rolls are starting to come through in the hand-to-hand for the Nemesis Claw. It's strength 5 versus toughness 4 too, which is a nice little bonus. That's going to be 3s to wound. And 2 fell off. So these 2 are through. The 2 that are through are a -2 to AP. The intercessors do not have an invulnerable save, so they're going to be up to a 5+ here. And that's another dead marine. Wow. So if this was multi-wounds, it would be even worse. I think, as I've said before, the world leaders might have a lot more multi-wounds, but this is still doing what it's supposed to. And the Nemesis Claw have taken out another intercessor marine because they have 2 wounds apiece. And we're not done yet. We still have the twin paired accursed weapons, and these are twin linked. So hitting on 3+. 1 fell off, so I don't get to reroll this. I get to reroll the wound, which is coming up now. And they are strength 5 as well against toughness 4, so 3s. And no need to reroll. We have 3, 4, 4. And these are also -2 to AP. Oof. So that is going to be 5+ again. Oh man, the Crimson Fists are taking it now. So there's 1 other dead marine, another with 1 wound. So I'm going to remove another intercessor here. And I'm going to be allocating that 1 wound over to the last intercessor with bolt gun. My sergeant has a power fist, so if there's going to be anybody alive at the end of this, I want to make sure that he is, because he's got the highest strength out of those weapons. And last but not least, I'm still coughing, sorry guys. The Nostrumon Chainglaive, 4 attacks, hitting on a 3+. The tray is too dark and the dice are dark, I can't see them, so here we go. Nostrumon Chainglaive, 4 attacks, 3+. All of those are through. This is that strength 8 weapon, so even against Terminators, turns them into a tin can. So we need, it's going to be 2s to wound here. So 1 did fall off. I can't reroll that because it's not a twin-linked weapon, but 3 are through. It is also a -2 to AP. This is not looking good. So that's going to be a 5+ save for the intercessors. And a couple of saves that time. So 1 marine, the last intercessor with bolt gun, has died because we allocated that 1 wound to him earlier. And the final marine over here, Crimson Fist Marine, is the sergeant with the power fist, and he is going to be able to fight back. Power fist is also within the profile for the intercessors. I was worried there for a sec because I thought maybe they'd change that rule out, but it is definitely still in the lineup. So it is a power fist. It is still strength 8, and there's 2 damage, so multi-damage here. So it's possible he's going to be able to get a little bit of revenge there for his dead squad mates. So power fist, 3 attacks, hitting on 3+. 1 fell off. Strength 8, toughness 4, 2s to wound. So both are through, a 2 and a 6. And it is a -2 to AP. That is going to bring the Nemesis Claw up to a 5+ save this time. They do not have an invulnerable. And 1 has been saved, 1 has not. So that is 2 wounds allocated. And the Nemesis Claw have lost 1 of their Marines, and another has been allocated that 1 wound that was delivered to them earlier. So the Crimson Fists got pretty wrecked there. The sergeant is still alive though, And there's himself, the 3 Terminators, and the Librarian left versus 4 Nemesis Claws. This one is getting very, very close at the end. We'll see how it goes, and it's back over to Crimson Fists here for their movement. So that is the end of the Crimson Fist move. Again, not many models left, so very quick movements here. The Sergeant has decided to take these Nemesis Claw on again by himself. He is going to get the initiative this time, and this is to buy the Terminators that are coming up quickly a little bit more time. And he's going to hopefully soften up these Nemesis Claw a little bit to allow those Terminators to come in and use those Storm Bolters as they approach. The Nemesis Claw in hand-to-hand combat are probably going to get a counterattack here, and it's going to not be good for the Intercessor Sergeant, but this is for, for his entire army, not just himself. So he's decided to go in, use that Power Fist, and finish these guys off to the best of his ability, and then from there have the rest of his army clean this up. So over to the tray. No one can shoot right now because they're all locked in hand-to-hand combat, the models here. So it's going to be another hand-to-hand combat round, and then we're going to get back to the Nemesis Claw move. If any of them are still alive, their shoot, and then Crimson Fists, and we'll see how long this one keeps going. Alrighty, we got to get this on camera. It is the Sergeant's possible last stand here. Power Fist, 3 attacks, hitting on a 3+. 1 fell off. Strength 8, Toughness 4, 2s to wound. Both are through. It is that -2 to AP, bringing the Nemesis Claw up to a 5+. 1 did save, 1 did not. That is another 2 damage through, so a Nemesis Claw has fallen, and the 1 wound that was allocated previously has now been given to the Melt-A-Gunner. I want to have that Chain Glaive available for them in case they are still alive to take on the Terminator. So now it flips over. We do have the Nemesis Claw with their hand-to-hand counterattack. The Sergeant might live. I've seen some crazy shit in my day playing Warhammer, so you never know. It's possible, but he's got to survive a lot of attacks here. So we'll start up with the close combat weapon, 3 attacks, 3+. This is not there. Taking that out. 1 fell off. Strength 4, Toughness 4, 4s to wound. Both are through. Not good. There's no AP there, but that's 2 wounds that are through. So let's see. Looking for a 3+. Saved both. The Sergeant's still doing his thing. Next up is going to be the Accursed Weapon. So 4 attacks. 3+. Hey. The luck flips over. So 3 1s. Those all fell off. This attack is through. The Accursed Weapon is Strength 5, Toughness 4, 3+ to wound. And it did wound. That is also a -2 to AP, so the Sarge has to make a 5+. He did not, but that is only 1 wound. So the Sergeant is still kicking with 1 wound. He's battered, he's beaten, he's all cut up, but he's still going. That, second heart still pumping. Maybe the first one got stabbed through. I'm not sure. He's been scrapping for a while. Last one here is going to be the Nostraman Chain Blade. And that is 5 attacks, 3+. Oh, sorry, Chain Glaive is 4 attacks, 3+. So 1 fell off. These are through. It is that Strength 8 versus Toughness 4, 2s to wound. 1 fell off. 2 are through. -2 to AP. 5+ here for the Sergeant. And he has made both saves. So that's pretty incredible. He just survived almost, I'd say, 10 attacks, very close to 10 attacks. Some at a very high strength, been able to save them. So he is going to be able to beat out of that combat, and he's going to let these Terminators take over for now. And if they need his help, he can jump back in with the Power Fist, but it's over the Crimson Fists now. It's over to the Night Lords now for their turn, so they might actually be jumping back in on the Sergeant. I jumped the gun there. But I'll show you guys what's going on, and yeah, we'll get back over to the Nemesis Claw movement in a sec. So that's a pretty crazy last stand there. He was able to do some damage, and then he survived multiple attacks at high strength. I'm going to do the move here right on camera while we're live. So they're literally just going to, they got knocked back a bit there by that power fist. Like, oh, fucking focus, man. I think it's trying to pick up this and it's having a difficult time. I can manually focus, but I don't know. I'd have to bring it in every time. There, that's better. So they move back, kind of push back by that fist. They're back in there. It is going to be hand-to-hand combat, and we're going to see if the sergeant can survive another round. After the hand-to-hand, it goes back to the Crimson Fists over the tray. All right, so a bit of a seesaw kind of yo-yo thing here, but now we're back over to the Nemesis Claw. It is their initiative here. So we're going to start up again with the close combat weapons, 3 attacks, 3+. Let me go through this quick so you guys don't have to be told every time. Yeah, so all those are through. It's going to be 3+. So 2 4s and a 2. Our sergeant has gone down. Very, very valiant effort. Good scrap. He's done his job too, because now the Terminators are going to be able to move in and start to light up these Nemesis Night Lords with their Stormbolters and with the Librarian's psychic abilities. So it's over to the Crimson Fist for their move. I'll come right back and show you guys what's happened there, and then we're going to get to the shoots right away. Alrighty, Crimson Fist move is done. This is not looking good for the Nemesis this time. The Nemesis Claw, they are within 12 inches. All the Terminators, they're going to get the Rapid 1 bonus. And I'm going to be also using the Heavy Flamer because it is in range as well to get some hopeful multiple wounds down on the Nemesis Claw Night Lords. And then we also have the Librarian there that could possibly clean it up. So over the tray right away, we're going to do the shoot phase and what could be the last turn for the battle. So let's see. All right, so Terminator time. We're going to start off with the Heavy Flamer. We got full 6. That's a really good start. So I'm just rolling there to see how many attacks we're actually going to get from it. So he just gouted them with fire. The Promethium or whatever is launching out of that thing definitely stuck on the Nemesis Claw and is burning them. Strength 5, toughness 4, 3s to wound. 1 fell off. It's looking good. I'll use these now for the Nemesis Claw save. So it's -1 to AP. That brings them up to a 4+. Oof. So 3 4s. However, 2 wounds have gone through. It's 1 damage per. So 1 more Marine or Nemesis Claw is dead. And that single wound switches over. I'm going to give that to the Chain Glaive. And that's because we're going to probably be range here. So I want to make sure the Plasma Pistol is still going. And then I also have Chain Glaive if by some chance they survive this barrage of Stormbolter fire that's coming in on them. So I'll remove these guys. We're going to move to the Stormbolters now. So the Sergeant of this unit and the other Terminator Marine both have Stormbolters. It's usually 2 attacks, but short, half the range of its usual 24 is 12, and they're going to get 4 attacks apiece. So this is going to be 8 attacks total, and that's because of the rapid fire 2. So hitting on a 3+. All of those have fired. That's pretty nuts. Not the best strength. Strength 4 versus toughness 4, but there's so many shots here. It's going to be 4s to wound. We'll see what happens. Yep. Quite a few fell off. So all of those failed. We have 3 that are through. No AP with the Stormbolter. So it's going to be 3+ saves for the Nemesis Claw. Oof, and that was a rough turn. So we lost the Chain Glaive Nemesis Claw. He had 1 wound, 1 damage. So the other wound goes over to the Visionary, Sergeant, Night Lord Champion, whatever you want to call them. If you're old school like me, they used to be champions. Then there was like Exalted Champions and Heightened Champions or whatever. So we're now, however, going to move over to the Librarian. So the Nemesis Claw are not done here. Neither are the Crimson Fists. The profile is Smite Witchfire. I'm not going to make this thing hazardous. 24 inches. The Visionary is in range. So let's get this going. And that's going to be D6, very similar to the Flamer. Seeing how many attacks we're going to get. And 4, not too bad. It's going to be 3+. And one fell off. Strength 5, toughness 4, 3s to wound. Ooh, and all those are through. It is a -1 to AP, so we got to make 3 saves here. 4 pluses for the Nemesis Claw Visionary. And with that, he has saved 2. This, however, he is dead no matter what, but let's do the good old Price is Right. Let's make a deal and see how many wounds would have gone through. D3, so cuts the dice in half, and that would have been 3 wounds through anyways. So the Crimson Fists have won again. This is a really good force. They've taken out some very diversified enemies. I will show you the remaining models there on the table, and they remain as King of the Hill. So let's show you guys the champs. And there they are, the surviving models for the Crimson Fist Fight Force 4 team. We have the Terminator Librarian with full 5 wounds remaining. We have 2 of the other Terminators, the Sergeant and the Heavy Flamer with 3 wounds apiece. And the final Stormbolter Terminator has 2 wounds left. There's been some other forces that have brought them closer to death than this, but they still keep kicking. So I'm going to have to look at my enemy forces. I know I had a pretty good Alpha Legion force put together that might give these guys a run for their money. There's also the World Leaders. But that's it. Thank you guys so much again for watching. It's been a while. Hopefully it was entertaining still, knocking some of the rust off. Thank you guys for letting me try out my Vivitar, in quotation marks, 8K camera. I might try my Vivitar 4K with the beginning of the next battle, but I won't keep it on as long if I see that the screen is still pretty fuzzy in that, like last time. I was hoping that the screen, quality might not have been good, but when it got to the computer, I could have cleaned it up, but that wasn't the case. But anyways, Crimson Fists, they are still Kings of the Hill on Finnigan 40K Fight Force 4, and we will see who they're taking on next. Thank you guys again. Please like, subscribe, and yeah, I got lots more models to paint up, get out here, and maybe try some new gaming.